It's a well-known fact that 95% of motor vehicle accidents can be attributed to human error. Managing a mobile workforce in today's busy world can be very challenging. What I thought we'd do today is catch up with one of Australia's leading compensation lawyers, Mr. Robert Bryden. Hi Rob, and welcome to Ian Luff TV. I thought we'd have a little bit of a chat. I mean, you know, you've got an extensive background in compensation law and naturally managing a mobile workforce out there in the real world. How do you see risk with people driving vehicles on our roads?
Risk is one of the biggest issues. As we know, it's not about speed, it's about distraction, it's about mobile phone use these days, it's about taking your mind off the job, and also not understanding the technology of the cars these days, which can help avoid accidents.
Well, that's a really interesting subject because technology's changed. What was the first car you ever drove?
Renault 10, 1970.
Okay, pretty low technology. No ABS brakes and so forth. So you would say then from a perspective of people understanding technology, that's pretty important?
Vital. One of the things we see with accidents these days, a large percentage of injury causing tail end accidents. And the technology with ABS brakes enables to stop in a very, very short distance, but unfortunately drivers aren't trained to use it.
With your level of expertise, you must have had people coming to you with all sorts of reasons and rhyme and so forth. Give us an example of an incident that you've been involved with.
Well, one that comes to mind, which I think is very important for businesses and particularly those employees of businesses, there was an industrial accident, serious industrial accident, and WorkCover investigated it and ended up charging the supervisor for not instructing the worker properly in how to use the machine. And I think that area of law is going to expand, and not only the business, the company, but the employees who are supervising people are going to be exposed to claims and being held responsible for injury.
Well, current workplace health and safety legislation actually indicates that there is a level of responsibility, particularly with the mobile workforce, with people running fleets of vehicles. I mean, no one can say there's no risk involved in the workplace. What would you say to that? Oh,
absolutely, because it's risk in workplace. If your workplace is driving, is being on the road all the time, we all know it's risky. There's car accidents, there's injuries, there's deaths. So being on the road, that's a dangerous workplace.
Look, you get my vote on that as well. What would you be saying then to companies out there that are managing a mobile workforce about employee/contractors, because contractors still come under the Act? What would you be saying to those people about what should they be doing to better managing their safe driving environment?
They need to take steps to have a very, very thorough and well-planned road safety and driving policy. And they should make sure that their employees are educated as highly as possible as to the safety of that driving workplace. And there's also research and programs available which profile the drivers, and you can actually identify high-risk drivers these days, high-risk employees, and take particular steps to improve their education and reduce their chances of being injured.
You just touched on profiling of drivers and so forth for risk. What would be the benefits of that?
Well, there's obviously the benefit of saving injury. Your drivers aren't going to be involved in as many accidents, and there are statistics to show that. These courses statistically work. The other thing is you lose an employee, you have to retrain, replace. You've also got workers' compensation premiums will go up, and you've got workers' comp excesses. So there's a whole lot of business arguments and a strong business case to reduce the risk by training your drivers.
Now, just on another matter, Rob, you are a motoring enthusiast, there's no denying that, and you've been driving for a long time. We hear the expression, people have a need for speed, they get a bit enthusiastic. What would you say to those people there? Where should that be done?
On the track, never on the road.
Okay, so supporting the Taking Speed Off the Roads campaign.
Oh, absolutely.
And the interesting point is that today, one of the big factors, particularly just getting back to the corporate side of things, is driver fatigue. I mean, people are driving longer distances for longer hours.
Yes.
Companies wanting their pound of flesh. What would you be saying about that as far as trying to measure risk to do with driver fatigue?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, that the truck industry has specific laws, regulations, logbooks, whereas the car-borne fleet doesn't. And I think employers have a big responsibility there. Everybody knows fatigue's a killer, and if the businesses involving car fleets aren't taking steps in that direction, they could be exposed.
Okay. Now, the whole aspect with your business, which is Robert Bryden Compensation Lawyers, is that the
Yes,
correct
Robert
term?
Bryden Lawyers, yes.
Bryden Compensation Lawyers. I mean, you're not out there ambulance chasing. We know that people come to you because you've been in the industry for how many years now?
Over 30 years.
Yeah, well, you would have seen a lot of situations. What would be your final piece of advice to any company person watching this on Ian Love TV about sort of better managing risk within their fleet or their mobile workforce?
Firstly, take advantage of profiling. If you can profile your drivers to find out what their risk level is, and then educate those drivers. Educate all of them, but particularly the high risk ones. Get them enrolled in a course so that they can understand how the vehicle works, they understand the technology, and they understand the risks that they face on the road.
Fantastic. Been great catching up with you, Rob.
Thanks, Ian.